This month is electric to be a New York Jets fan, and I've been telling you, we got some nice things cooking for you. Well, this might be one of the best things yet. We have a personal favorite guest of mine who is coming back to talk to us about all these draft prospects. All right, we will be going A to Z, talking about all these draft prospects. Stay with us right after the intro. Boy Green meets Wudi.
Can you guys help us get a jet chant here? Yeah, going.
Oh.
Okay, right, yeah. Come on in.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go!
J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets! Let's go! J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets! Let's go! There you go, Wudi!
Third Party Thursday.
Chris joining us here on the program with a capital P here on the program.
Jake Asman, come on down. How you doing, good sir?
Wow, what an intro. I mean, the boy Green is known for having the intro, but Wudi, that was unreal, man. Thanks for the kind words, son.
We are men of many names.
My favorite Austrian Jets fan right there, baby.
Welcome to another episode of Boy Green Meets Wudi. It is your boy, James Wudi, and you already know we are Wudi, rocking everywhere. Right here in the lights. The light has come. Let this man, he is the boy who became king, Mr. Paul Esden Jr. All right, and now we actually have a special guest, okay, on this show. And I appreciate you guys for, always being with us. We got all these guests, right? We've had ESPN VP, former NFL All-Pro, NFL insiders. Well, I'm going to tell you something right here. I don't think there's a guest that has given me more to take away from than this man right here. He is always dropping nuggets. All right. And now I hope you guys are hungry because he has plenty of nuggets to share, not only today, but Thursday as well. We are double dipping. This is Ryan Roberts week. So come on down, our good sir. It is time to talk football. How are you doing?
I'm great. These great introductions, though, I must say, man, I feel like you're setting me up for failure here because I don't know if I can give enough great information to the people. I don't know, man. You're hyping up. I love it, though. I love it. Appreciate you guys, though.
Hey, you have delivered beyond the hype. All right, just to give the people, right, if you guys don't remember this man, all right, he talked about Brock Bowers, how good he was as a prospect, how he was a can't miss prospect. And what does he do his first year? Let's talk about Olu Fashanu. All right. This man right here said that he would be a blue chipper for us. He would produce his first year. And what did he do? Then we went all
I gave him
the
the Brickashaw Ferguson comp last year. Remember that one?
You sure did.
Yep.
You sure did. That's what I'm talking about. So that's what we're here for. We're here for more takes that will age like fine wine.
It's beautiful. And speaking of, let's pour one out real quick. We have a new member to the Boy Green Coffee Club making another smart decision here on the program. Welcome to the show, baby. Zach Quinn, now a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club, got himself a raffle ticket for our draft contest, baby. I'll throw it up on the screen real quick before we get into all the hoopla. We're giving away right here the official 2025 Jets draft hat, the official 2025 Jets draft shirt, and the greatest cinematic masterpiece of all time, Draft Day with Kevin Costner and Jennifer Garner, baby. Again, you guys can continue to get those raffle tickets in for the next week, and on the 16th, we'll reveal that winner and send you all these wonderful prizes so you can enjoy them for the draft, baby. $2.99 a pop per raffle ticket. There's no limit on those raffle tickets. Real quick, Ryan, before we get down to the brass tacks here, where do you stand on Draft Day being the greatest movie of all time?
I mean, you're not a draft nerd or draft analyst if you don't watch Draft Day at least once the week of the draft. You know what I mean? You just don't do it. So like, if we're being like a technically sound, really good storyline, realistic, like all that type of stuff, it's not a good movie at all, but like, I love it every single time I watch it. So I will be watching it in a couple weeks here without question.
All right, beautiful. Because I will say two things. First off, Average Joe, thank you for commenting in on YouTube. I've actually never seen Draft Day. Does that mean I'm not American? It does. So get out.
Hey, Average Joe, we gotta get our green cards together, man. Because I have not seen it either.
Disgusting.
Oh no!
I hope to watch it this month though.
But I will tell you, a good buddy of mine.
Alvin Mack, no matter what, Wudi. Alvin Mack, no matter what.
Yeah, there you go. And I will just say, I got a good buddy of mine, John Schmelk. He's worked for the New York Giants for many years inside their building as a host, reporter, producer, everything. And we get into a debate every year that I get him on my radio show. And here I'm at the radio show. And I'm like, draft day, amazing. And he's like, the draft value chart doesn't make any sense. And then we start getting into a debate. I'm like, Mission Impossible. How about that twist that Tom Cruise did? Did that make any sense? Then shut up, John. And then it just gets really uncomfortable very quickly. So.
Well, Paul, you know how tired I am. I just realized I said Alvin Mack no matter what. It's Vontae Mack no matter what in that movie. Alvin Mack was in the program, the crazy linebacker in the program. So I'm mixing up football movies live on the podcast as well. So,
yeah, I wasn't going to highlight that, Ryan. I wasn't going to bring that up because I'm that kind of guy. I wasn't going to go, hey, you know what? Vontae Mack no matter what. But nonetheless, I appreciate the love and also the self-correction. Look at this, Ryan. You're a well-built machine here. So
as soon as I said Alvin Mack, I was like, that is not the right movie. So we're going to be honest here. We're going to be honest on the podcast. That's it.
I appreciate that. So it is Ryan Roberts week. You'll be joining us for both double dips. We're live here on Boy Green Meets Wudi every Tuesday and Thursday at 3:00. And of course, Boy Green Daily is our daily Jets morning show every morning at 7:30. And we're splitting them up. It seems like the easiest thing to do. We'll keep our offensive prospect and offensive draft questions bottled up today on Tuesday. Guys, if you have offensive questions, super chat them in and I will put them on the list. You guys can do that on YouTube and we'll get to those before the end of our conversation with Ryan. And then on Thursday, we'll go all defense here. And I want to start off with this one because who knows if this will have any impact on the Jets directly, but it caught my journalistic antenna, my radar start going wee woo when I heard this over the weekend. Jalen Milroe got an invite to the draft and he accepted it. Does this mean what I think it means, Ryan Roberts?
Paul, it's fascinating, man. I'm glad you actually started there because I've been in a group chat now for weeks and weeks and weeks, and we have been dealing with the discourse over Jackson Dart versus Jalen Milroe versus Tyler Shuck versus what the pecking order is, all this type of stuff. I've maintained I still think Jalen Milroe is the third quarterback off the board. The major question though that I would have is, where does he come off the board, right? And I think it was Jordan Schultz who put out that there's only going to be like 8 to 10 guys in the green room this year, so it's going to be a pretty small group overall. So, I mean, obviously there has to be some high level interest or at least something on the Milroe side that's saying like I'm not going to look like the dunce that doesn't get drafted in the first round and has to stick in there, day 2 of the draft and wait in the green room because that's not a good place to be in, obviously, right? So I think the interest around the league is higher on Jalen Milroe just in a vacuum than the general media is because he is a very boomer bust kid, like he is. And the thought process is I would rather not take that kid in the first round. I would rather gamble on him in the seconds, right? Because at the end of the day, if I miss on a second round quarterback, nobody's going to remember. I mean, like literally Tennessee's about to be like, all right, Will Levis, you stink. We're going Cam Ward. And no one cares. Like no one cares because it was a second round quarterback. You didn't draft him in the top 10, so it doesn't really matter ultimately, right? So I think Milroe is the third quarterback off the board. I'm still not necessarily sold that it happens in the top 10, but I am kind of sold that it does happen in the first round. So that's kind of what I think of Milroe right now. I think that he is going to be a first rounder, but I'm not sold that he's, a top 10 to like the New Orleans Saints or something like that. Like I'm not sold on that happening yet.
Well, we're gonna go from one QB whose arrow's up to the QB whose arrow's down, and that is my guy Shedeur. I thought it was slammed. 1 and 2. I thought he was a lock to go to the Giants if he fell, and now they got a whole bunch of quarterbacks in there. So now I feel like I've continued to see his name go further and further down the ranks. Is he a hot commodity? If the Jets, have that 7th overall pick and he's on the board, is there a team calling in trying to trade up? Like what kind of vibes are you getting for Shedeur getting drafted?
I think Shedeur is still the second quarterback off the board. I think that we are getting into the part of the draft process where it's the more realistic area, right? More predictive. And honestly, I just don't think that Shedeur was ever viewed as like the second overall draft pick in this class. I just don't think he ever was that. I think people in a quarterback needy draft in some spots will still take the plunge for a top 10 potential of Jalen Milroe, but it's also possible that he slides. I mean, I think it was Eric Edholm from NFL.com, who I love Eric, And he had him going number 15 overall, and he had the Cleveland Browns coming all the way back from like 34 to 15 or 33
Oh
to
my
15.
God,
where the heck they
33.
pick in the second
Yeah.
round. Yeah,
Wow.
and I didn't want to clown on Eric because like the draft capital compensation that they gave up to make that jump, I was like, that there's no way that deal would get done. Like that's a different conversation though. But like the point is that Shedeur can fall a little bit, but I do think he's ultimately going to end up being the second round pick. And I do think if he falls enough, that could cause some teams to say like, hey, let's come get him. Like let's make sure that happens ultimately. So I don't think he's a back end of the first round guy. I think that he's more. Could he last until the teens? It's possible, but I also think that there's a very high possibility that he goes to like, New Orleans at 9, or I wouldn't even be shocked if the Jets drafted him at 7. Like I wouldn't be totally shocked about that. So yeah, I think he still goes top 10, but I do think there's a possibility he slides, and we'll see how far that slide happens. That'll make it more likely that a team trades up for him ultimately.
Beautiful. Let's get some more action happening here on the program. DNY for life, a.k.a. Devin, making it rain from the high heavens, baby. You love to bleep and see it. Let it rain. Work some of this action into the mix. We got 5 new members to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Also, Devin has himself 15 raffle tickets for that draft contest we talked about earlier today. So shout out to Devin, and you guys can continue to submit your raffle tickets as well. Make sure you just hit them up. The 5 new members of Boy Green Coffee Club are Gary the Snail, Shadow Realm, Big Time Entertainment, John Stepik, and Javier Santos. All now members to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Shout out to Devin. Pour one out from your brother from another mother. Anywho, let's also get into some of this mix here, Ryan. And my mission in this draft, it's not really mine. It's one I've sort of volunteered for, is who is the perfect complement at wide receiver to Garrett Wilson. I want to help a brother out. I see a brother in need, and I want to do everything we can to help him. And I just don't know who it is because, man, there's some crazy flavors in this draft of different ice cream that could potentially, you squint, complement Garrett Wilson. Whether it's in the first round, second round, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, doesn't matter to me where the round is. Who is the guy that complements the very elusive, very fluid former basketball star Garrett Wilson, who complements his game and could make sense at wide receiver to join him along in that Jets WR room?
Look, I know a part of the Aaron Rodgers era, they tried to bring Alan Lazard along for the ride, right? For obvious reasons. He has a deep relationship with him. While that was not the right fit because Alan Lazard's not very good, there was the right thought process, right? Like size, adding size to the perimeter, because Garrett Wilson is a Z that can move into the slot. He can move all over the place. He's dynamic in space, like absolutely dynamic, really good route runner. Getting impact size, I think, would be very interesting. Now, I think 7's too early for Tedero McMillan. Like, I just do in a vacuum. I think that it just would not be my flavor. But if you wanted to go more in a day 2 range, Jaden Higgins from Iowa State, I think, is a very interesting, bigger body receiver. I mean, he's nearly 6'4". He ran 4.47. He's got kind of that just long, wiry frame that can win through contact a good bit. Decent route runner as well. So I think a Jaden Higgins that out of Iowa State is a very interesting player. If you want to just hyper focus on like, hey, let's get space weapons, right? Like forget about size and making it a complimentary room. We just want impact and space. I also like the teammate of Jaden Higgins at Iowa State and Jalen Noel in the second round as well, potentially. Like he's similar-ish to Garrett, but I think that they can live together because he's so gifted with understanding spacing, how to find blind spots, how to find openings. And he's better at the catch point than you would consider for a guy that's 5'10", 196 pounds. Like we comped him at the A to Z film room to Steve Smith Sr. Like he reminds me a lot of that. Cause like you look at Steve Smith and you said like, he's 5'9", 190. He's probably not a guy that wins at the catch point, but then you watch him and you're like, oh, that guy's just, he's a little bit more competitive than most defensive backs he goes against. So he is going to win through contact a good bit. So Iowa State, I think whether you want to add size to go with Garrett Wilson or you want to just continue the space game, Jaden Higgins versus a Jalen Noel, I think both those players bring a lot of upside potential on day 2.
Wow. Well, now this wasn't even on my docket here, but I gotta ask about my guy T-Mac. What is the highest you would draft him? If 7 is too rich, maybe the Jets do end up trading back, in that Shedeur type situation. So what pick do you think is a acceptable pick for T-Mac?
We've seen now a lot of, like, in some of the more mainstream analysts, like, Mel Kiper and Dane Brugler and some of those guys. We're more seeing Tedero McMillan in more like the 14 to 20-ish range, like somewhere in that ballpark. I think that's just more where I'm comfortable with him. I love the size he brings. He's got really good ball skills, really good strong hands, but I only see him win in one area, and that's really with his catch point prowess, with a guy that can win above the rim. I think he's a pretty average route runner. I don't think he's foot fast. I know, the fun the fun little video that came out of like his doctored up 40-yard dash that people were like, oh, he ran 4.47. It comes out, he's like, it was probably more like 4.58, right? Like, I don't think that he wins consistently in enough areas for me to draft him super high. But I think if you're drafting him to be a high end number 2 or maybe low end 1, like that's more the range of a, mid-teens to 20 something. I think that's the spot that you look for Tedero McMillan. And I say like, that's a value at that area of the draft.
Would you still say he's a top receiver on the board?
So he's not my number 1 receiver. I do think some teams will view him that way. Like, Woody, like this time of year, like I love these questions, but it really does depend on what you're looking for in a wide receiver. It's like an ice cream flavor type of thing, right? So if you're a team that needs in the first round a guy that is going to kill space a good bit, right? That is a Luther Burden type out of Missouri. If you want a guy that's more of the long, acrobatic X receiver, then a team is probably going to love a Tedero McMillan. If you want a guy that's more of a Z route runner, really deceptive, maybe you'll like a Matthew Golden out of Texas. Like, it really depends on what your flavor is. I prefer in today's game in 2025, like I prefer Luther Burden type. Like, that's my guy. He reminds me a lot of like Golden Tate. I think in the heavy RPO space game that is the modern NFL in a passing game perspective, like that's the guy that I gravitate towards a little bit more. But it really just does depend. Like, like the Jets, I think the Jets will probably like Tedero McMillan as near the top of their board because of that size caliber that he brings to the table. So it really depends on your flavor. Luther Burden is my personal flavor, but I understand that there's some people that want and value a type of receiver a little bit differently.
Ryan, you always make me blush when you make those Notre Dame Golden Domer references, baby. Golden Tate. I used to talk. My dad's a diehard Notre Dame fan. The Golden Tate tape. When you watch him, the hand catches, the impressiveness of those mitts that he had on the football. Yep. I used to talk about that ball control. My dad, like, look at this guy. This guy just boom. As soon as he got those mitts, there's nothing. No one could try to break up that ball or anything. So Golden Tate stock up on this program, baby. So appreciate that, right?
Hey, man, those are the fun days, man, when Notre Dame actually had wide receivers, Like nowadays it's a little bit harder to come by, but it's, that was Michael Floyd, Golden Tate. Before that, we had Samardzija, we had Maurice Stovall. Like, Notre Dame had some receivers back in the day. They need to start getting a few more of those guys to come to South Bend, hopefully.
There's no question about that. I love it. Hey, we've got a super chat coming through. Again, keep these coming through the entire show. Every time we get a super chat, we hear from my beautiful daughter, Zariah Luna. Wow. This is Los, has been a member for 5 months on the Boy Green Coffee Club. Appreciate it. Quarterback at 7 is malpractice. Offensive line tight end is a must. Your reaction, Ryan, at 7th overall?
I think it is. I don't know if I would say malpractice, but I do think that it is not a good decision ultimately. Like in first year under Aaron Glenn, I think the reason that you got Justin Fields on the very affordable contract is to buy your time and to find a guy that you love ultimately, right? And no disrespect to Shedeur, but if Shedor's falling and he gets there to 7, it means that maybe people aren't as high as some others are ultimately, right? Like, and honestly, like if the Jets love him that much, they probably trade up to make sure that they get him ultimately. So I think sitting there at 7, I tend to agree with this comment. I mean, I'm sure that I'm going to be asking him at some point in this, but I keep mocking Tyler Warren to the Jets at 7. Like that's the guy that I just keep that's the guy. I think that's the guy. Cause we talked a minute about, what kind of style fits with Garrett Wilson. Well, you could also throw in the big body physical tight ends that can do a lot of different things like a Tyler Warren. So I agree with that concept, obviously with the Tyron Smith and, off into the sunset and Olu Fashanu, like finding another bookend at offensive tackle would be very interesting as well. So I think both those ideologies are very understandable. And I think it would be better than just forcing a player at 7 just because maybe just you want to double dip to make sure you have a quarterback. I just don't know if that's the right strategy year 1 under a new head coach and new regime.
Thank you again. This is Los for this. And I know me and Woody both have something on our sheet about this. So I guess let's just keep the stream going here when you bring up Tyler Warren. I guess I'll start here. Is your propensity and affinity for clicking the draft Tyler Warren button on your local mock draft about the Jets going, in the middle of the night, they're sleeping. Oh, we should have taken Brock Bowers. We should have taken Brock Bowers. We should have taken Brock Bowers. And then now this year, they're like, well, what's your name? Tyler Warren? All right, close enough. All right, you're the guy. Is that sort of the thought process there?
Sure, man. Yeah, Brock Bowers died for the sins, I guess. I don't know, but not really. Actually, I mean, it's a great question, and I'd be fascinated if this is a thing in the Jets, the Jets fandom, because I don't know this, because obviously you guys are the Jets guys.
Sure.
Are they hurt by first round tight ends? I mean, obviously I was looking at historical stuff, and it's like
Kyle Brady
and Dustin Keller, and
we love
it's not
Dustin
great,
Keller.
Yeah,
so Dustin Keller again,
but...
right? He's not going to the Dustin Keller is a great example. We brought this up on the morning show. Someone called in and was asking about it, and they said, when's the last great tight end? I'm like, great. Now we're getting a little froggy, but I said one I really enjoyed was Dustin Keller. They traded back into the back end of the first round against Dustin Keller, and he was rock solid during those playoff years and stuff. So he was solid. And I didn't mention this name, but I'm a Chris Baker guy from the mid 2000s. He was a guy that really revved my engine. But again, on the war-torn history of the same college Kyle Brady over Warren Sapp, I think some Jet fans will never get over that. And then the discourse last year. I mean, Woody could speak to it too. Last year, there were Bowers boys, as they called themselves, that were pro Bowers. There's a lot of people going, tight end, top 10. They ultimately traded back to 11. They said, no friggin' way. So it's, long story short, a very divisive topic based on that matter.
Well, and I would say this is that, because I'm sure that some people will look at the Jets potentially drafting a tight end at 7. They would say, Brock Bowers just went, after pick 10 last year, right? Like, he's further down the board, and now we're drafting a guy at 7 who's not as good as Brock Bowers. And the answer is every draft's different, right? Like, this is a different draft. If Brock Bowers was in this draft, he is a no doubt top 10 pick in this class. Like, there would be no debate over it. It's a different year. Tyler Warren is not as high upside of a pass catcher as Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers is the best tight end that I've ever evaluated. But I'm also going to tell you, Tyler Warren is one of the best tight ends I've also have ever evaluated. Like, he is really good, man. Like, people are underrating him a little bit. It's really strange. Because if you watch him at Penn State this year, they did some gimmicky, gadgety stuff with him, right? Like, he's running Wildcat and doing a bunch of weird things. But I mean, there was even a play where he snapped the football as the end man line of scrimmage, then he mossed the dude in the end zone. It's bizarre how many different ways that Andy Koltanecki used him at Penn State this past year. But he also is 260 pounds. He's also incredibly physical. He also is a very improving blocker. Early in the year, didn't love his blocking. At the end of the year, he was a much better blocker. He can be used after the catch. He can be used as a weapon in the middle of the field. He's not a great route runner, but he can win with the size and physicality and straight line speed. Like, he has so many attributes. I hate comparing guys to players like this, but he is very Rob Gronkowski-ish as far as his style, like his body type. Everything kind of looks that way. So I would not be afraid to draft him number 7 overall just to make up for the Brock Bowers thing. I would be happy to draft him at 7 overall because I think, in my opinion, that Tyler Warren is a top 10 player in this draft, and the Jets need a dynamic middle-of-the-field threat that can help with Justin Fields or whoever the quarterback is long-term in the future.
Yeah, I'm just hoping someone in the near future calls me Bob Costas-ish. I would certainly take that win on the bingo card. There's no question about it. Again, we've got Ryan Goshdarn Roberts here on the show, baby. NFL draft analyst for A to Z Sports joining us here on the show. Woody, do you want to get your, I don't know if you were fully satisfied on your Brock Bowers, Tyler Warren stuff. Do you still want to get that in there?
Fully satisfied. No, I do have a tight end question just in the off chance that the Jets pass, right? They do something crazy. That's usually what they end up doing. Are there other names at the tight end position? Maybe 3rd round, 2nd round, but I'll say 3rd round beyond that could still provide value in year 1, because right now that tight end room is looking thinner than my top hairs right here. It's pretty thin. All right, this one is Stone Smart. This one is Jeremy Rucker. All right. Are there any tight ends in that 3rd round and beyond that we could add to the room?
Oh man, Jeremy Rucker, Long Island greats. Woody, you have great hair, man. I don't know why you're downplaying yourself like that, man. You have a
Yeah, there you
fantastic
go.
head of hair.
Appreciate you.
I mean, it's a really good tight end overall this year. It really is. Again, it depends on the style. Like I like Elijah Arroyo out of Miami a lot. Like he's more yak space weapon type of dude, right? Like he's more of a big slot H-back type that's going to move around a ton. You're going to motion him all over the place. You're going to hit him on slides. You're going to hit him just on quick outs. Like you're going to get the ball in his hands and mesh routes, like whatever. You're going to get the ball in his hands and let him work space. If you want more of that type of player, I think he makes a lot of sense. If you want to go maybe even to the fourth-ish round, I think Gunnar Helm out of Texas is going to be a value. Now, he's more all-around tight end. Like he's more of a blocker than a lot of guys in this class. He's got a bigger body. He ran a slow 40 at the combine, but if you saw the picture of his ankle afterwards, like he twisted his ankle and like that thing was ugly, man. Like it was really ugly. He's a much better athlete than like the 4.84 that he ran. Like I thought he was going to run like 4.7 flat. You know what I mean? Like he's that type of athlete. He's a better athlete than that just generally. He's more all around player, but if you want just a weapon, a pass game weapon, I think a guy like an Elijah Arroyo is very interesting. Mason Taylor from LSU is a guy that has some fans as well. I know Jason Taylor spent a little bit of time with the Jets at the tail end of his
Jets
career,
legend,
so maybe
baby.
Yeah, man. So maybe you want to keep him away from Miami, right? Like, don't let Miami get his hands on Mason Taylor. I don't know if that's the ideology there, but like, yeah, this is a really good tight end class. Everyone's going to hyper focus on Tyler Warren. They're going to talk about Colston Loveland, obviously out of Michigan for a lot of good reasons. But I do think there's tight ends, especially on day 2, that are definitely worth keeping an eye on, without question.
All right, speaking of all that, let's get another super chat in, folks. Continue to send them in, either super chat member shoutouts like this or super chats in general. They're all fair game.
Wow.
R&R here says, will a receiver or a tight end help Fields more? Justin Fields, the new starting quarterback for the New York Jets, Ryan.
Sorry, my daughter is asking me to open a thing of juice as I'm answering this
Oh,
question.
no, feel free.
Multitasking.
There you go.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
There you go,
Yeah,
babe. There you go.
Yeah.
Will tight end help more, will receiver or tight end help Fields more? So Justin Fields is a very interesting player because obviously like his skill set, you're going to ask him to do a lot of like quarterback run game stuff, right? Like you're going to ask him to do some quarterback power at times, some zone read stuff, power read. Like you're going to ask him to do a bunch of stuff. I actually prefer tight end in that role. I mean, like wide receiver can help, obviously, right? But Justin Fields, for me, is a guy that if I am working some of that quarterback run game stuff and then teams start getting sucked up a little bit, tight end to the middle of the field is just like an easy outlet pass, right? Like easy stuff, the extension off of that. And then also Tyler Warren, again, did a lot of gadgety stuff his last year at Penn State. So if you want to utilize him in a couple different creative ways, I think it's super interesting. So if like the question is, do you want Tyler Warren at 7 or do you want Tedoroa McMillan, just like in a hypothetical? I think that a Tyler Warren type of tight end, a guy that can be utilized in a lot of different ways, I think that's actually a little bit more of a value for me for a guy like a Justin Fields based upon all the looks he can give you from a quarterback run game perspective.
Which, by the way, I agree with. I agree with that take. I think the blocking that could help along with being a security blanket when things break down, I think are really important. Go ahead, Woody.
This is actually just another one not on the docket, but came to my mind while we talking because I know the one thing that I hear from the anti Warren Warriors, just to let you know, I don't think people were calling themselves Bowers Boys. I think they were getting called Bowers Boys by the anti, right? Okay. It's a name of disrespect. Oh, you Bowers Boys, right? And now, oh, you Warren Warriors. So from someone like that who would say it like that, they call this man a 1-year wonder. What do you have to say to that? Not having, years and years of this production under his belt.
For Tyler Warren, you're talking about, right?
Yes. Sorry.
No, you're fine. That's totally my fault. Again, my daughter is being a little chaotic right now. But my answer would be quite simply this, Woody, would be you've had some good tight ends at Penn State, right? Like you just had another tight end that was drafted last year in the top 100 in Theo Johnson that's playing for the New York Giants at this point, right? Like there is a pecking order type of thing that
Brendan
happens.
Strange was the year before too.
Brendan Strange, who went top 100 as well. So you've had a lot of good tight ends at Penn State, obviously. And ultimately, we say like, oh, best player plays, but we know how coaches are. Like they rely on experience a lot. Like they defer to experience, especially on the college level, ultimately. So I think that is a little bit of that. And then also a thing worth mentioning is Tyler Warren was a high school quarterback. So he needed some developments. He wasn't going to be a guy that year one was going to come in and just light the world on fire. He needed to get bigger, stronger, grow into his frame, become more of that versatile overall player outside of being an athlete. So I think all those things together is why we're seeing a late season breakout. It was a crowded room, and he was a guy that was not viewed as like this. He was like a 3-star tight end coming out of high school. It wasn't like this guy was like top 50. He's coming in. He's a guy that's going to play from day one. He was going to be a developmental guy, which is why you saw a little bit of that developmental track down the stretch of his career.
Very fair. Hey, let me just ask you this, because the Jets' offensive line is looking real nice. They listen to Ryan Roberts. They drafted Olu Fashanu, plug and play, baby. 4 of the 5 are on lock. The thing that's sort of missing is right tackle. With Morgan Moses going to the New England Patriots, a traitorous bastard. I'll try to get there over that one day. So, anywho, my question is simply this. How many rookies do you believe in this class can start at right tackle day one? Regardless of round, wherever they're at, because I see a bunch of other teams in the league can draft right tackles in the 3rd or 4th round that start immediately. The Jets have been unable to crack that code, but from what I understand, it is possible. How many guys, in your opinion, are capable of doing it, starting day one at right tackle, regardless of round in this draft?
It's probably, I'd say there's probably 3 to 4 in this class just overall. I mean, I'm just kind of thinking, especially like the first round targets, like Armin Membu is a guy from Missouri that can come in and play because he's literally started multiple years at right tackle. That's where he's played his entire career, ultimately. So I think he's a guy for sure that can. Will Campbell, I think, can also do it out of LSU. I mean, he's only played left tackle during his LSU career, but I mean, there's nothing about him that says you can't move over to right tackle. Like if you can handle left tackle in the SEC, I'm sure that you can project and transition to right tackle. And also at the combine, he talked a lot about that he's been doing stuff out of a left and a right hand stance in pre-camp warm-ups and all that type of stuff. So he's a guy that could do it as well. Kelvin Banks, I think out of Texas, can do it, but I'm not as like, yes, he can definitely do it as I am a couple other guys, because he's the guy that's also only played left tackle. But I'm also not as high on like I don't dislike Kelvin, but like Kelvin would not be my pick at number 7, for instance, right? Like it's more of like if the Jets want to trade back into the teens or like late teens, maybe Kelvin Banks is your pick at that spot. Like that's kind of more I see it ultimately. And then my last guy is, and this is fully dependent on if he's healthy or not, is I think Josh Simmons from Ohio State is the best offensive tackle in this class, but he's coming back from the injury. But if he is healthy, he can absolutely do it. It's just going to be dependent on what that patella injury looks like long term.
Wow, that's a sleeper. See, that's why we talking to Ryan Roberts, man.
100%.
Ryan Roberts week. That's what I'm trying to say with these interesting nuggets, because I need one right here. Right, Will Campbell. They've been talking about his arms. You know, I'm out here trying to measure my what's too long, what's too short, and I feel like people run away with like certain specific measurements like this and use that to drive people's stock up, stock down. So I'm asking you, how much stock should we hold into Will's arm size? Is this going to be a hindrance?
Yeah.
Do you think he can translate for show on the next level?
So arm length is an interesting conversation. I think it matters because the historical data tells me it matters. But I'm actually more worried about wingspan. That's more my thing ultimately, right? Because players are going to fight to get inside position into your frame. You need to be able to have the arm length and the ability to out leverage them and to get back inside. Football is positioning in a numbers game. Like that's all it is, right? Like you want to get inside of a player and you win. That's what it comes down to in the offensive line. I think he's very savvy. I think he's got strong hands. I think he has a strong base. The arm length does concern me a little bit because if you pop on a couple games like Texas A&M at times against like Shamar Stewart and Nick Scorton and those types of guys, length does affect him at times. Like it does. But I do think he's savvy enough to make it work. I just think that in your system, especially, you're just going to need to be aware of it at times, right? Like you might not want him to be on an island every single snap in pass protection. You want to be able to be very strategic in how you deploy him ultimately in pass protection all the times. So I think he can stick at the offensive tackle, but at worst, like if you're drafting Will Campbell, I know people hate this, but like if you draft him and he ends up being a really good offensive guard on the NFL level, I still think that's a value in this class at the end of the day.
And here's my last one. My last one for you here, Ryan, as we're wrapping up the show. And thank you so much for all your insights here on the program. And it's simply this. I just want a sleeper. I just want a sleeper, someone that'll help us put to bed at the running back position. People don't want to have this uncomfortable conversation, but Brees Hall has entered the last year of his deal, and you have no idea if the Jets are going to sign him long term. So maybe they want another back that fits exactly what they're doing. So who's the sleeper? Who's the sleeper running back that you like in this class?
DJ Giddens is my guy from Kansas State in like day 2.
Ooh.
I love him so much.
Okay.
I mean, that's my guy. He's a little over 6 foot. He's 216 pounds. Play style, again, not comparing him to this player because I don't do the predictive comparison stuff. I just do play style comparison. He runs a lot like Todd Gurley. He's got kind of that legginess to him, right? He kind of makes you miss, even though he doesn't look like he's be an overly just like dynamic change of direction guy. But he's got incredible vision, really good patience, like the best vision, I think, in this class from like first to second level, and he makes guys miss in space really well. So I think that he is a guy that could go top 64, but I think he's a top 75 player for sure. Like, I think he's going to be on that range because then he went to the combine. He had like a 40.5-inch vert. He ran like 4.43. Like, he's just a really good early down runner. I like him a ton. So that's a guy I think that's a tremendous value in this class overall. But I mean, you can find any of those guys in this class. Like, I mean, there's a possibility that day 3 you can find like Kyle Monangai from Rutgers in like late day 3. That's like just a good player, right? Like, he'll come in and he'll be a part of a group. So like, honestly, I'd give you a guy in like almost every round for running back. It is by far the deepest position overall in this class by a landslide, in my opinion.
Yeah, I love that muscle hamster out of Rutgers. He'd be wonderful. All right, Woody, anything else to finish us off here?
No, I'm just trying to gather myself after you pretty much kicked Brees Hall off my team. The immense disrespect. Yeah, no.
Sorry,
better put those feet away. But no, I feel like I got a lot to digest. You look at the comments, everybody's like, "Whoa, Ryan's making too much sense." But that is literally what people are saying in there, and I have to wholeheartedly agree. If you guys are loving what Ryan is saying, well, guess what? This is only part 1, baby. All right, we got part 2 coming out later this week. This is a glorious week, Ryan Roberts week, the double dip, if you will. Where we just got to break it down. We appreciate you big time.
Absolutely, guys. And next time I will make sure that my child is a little bit more, she's a little bit more focused, a little bit more preoccupied, but I appreciate you guys. I hope the info was good despite a couple different interactions off to the side there. So I appreciate you guys.
Well, as 2 fellow fathers, I could speak for Woody here that absolutely commendable, you being able to pull this off and be a father at the same time. I'm not surprised based on everything you bring to the table. The scouting profile suggested you are capable of such matters, obviously. But I love that as well. Another shout out at Rise and Draft. Rise and the letter Draft. Follow on social media. Go ahead, Ryan.
No, I was just gonna say I don't like to toot my horn too often, but I did, just do live, talked a lot of prospects while filling up and making juice for my daughter, and her constantly saying, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy." Okay, babe, I'll be there in a couple minutes. So yeah, I'm definitely good multitasking on my part there, and that's what parenthood gives to you these days, to say the least.
Toot. You don't want to do it. I just did it for you, pal. Beautiful, Ryan. Can't wait to see you on Thursday, brother.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you as always. I appreciate you.
All right, there he is, Ryan Roberts. Boom, Woody. Another one in the books, baby.
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, and I hope now you guys see what I'm saying. Out of all of the guests on this show, there is no one that I take more away from than Ryan Roberts. He has so much knowledge, so much insight, so much specific information referring to specific games, right? like they're just commonplace. He is so good at what he does, and that's why he's with A to Z. And honestly, put up sharing. I know we got a super chat. Hey.
Wow.
Hey, I don't know. I might be a warrior. I might be.
Oh, you joining? You're Warren Warriors Unite?
I don't know. Stuff. I was a proud Bowers boy, but I was okay with offensive tackle. Now I don't know because hey, they need a tight end.
Damn strict they do. Jesus.
Yeah. It's I don't know. He made some very compelling arguments for Tyler Warren. I gotta say that.
I will also say, just on Warren Warriors, Rich Eisen he just got back from a spring break vacation, and the first thing he said is, for the 7th overall pick, the Jets better be on Tyler Warren. So he's pounding the table on the Rich Eisen show for him. He's not the only one. It's one of the more commonly, it's Tyler Warren or Armand Membu. That seems to be the two most commonly mock picks currently. That doesn't mean it's going to happen, but those are the two most common 7th overall draft selections on mock drafts across the universe. And Sharon is one of the biggest supporters, baby, of Warren Warriors Unite. Let's go. And thank you for being a member for 7 months, Sharon. Appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. Appreciate Sharon. Appreciate all you guys asking questions, right? So Ryan was able to answer those. And hey, on Thursday, we will be talking about defense, right? There are two sides of the ball. Believe it or not, I personally believe that defense might need more work. I think I love the running back room. I love most of the O-line. Garrett's a stud. I feel like the defense was really the side that completely let us down last year that we're looking to kind of repair. Really only Andre Sisco is the only free agent that I love. So I will definitely be picking Ryan Roberts' brain about defensive possibilities, and I hope you guys come through Thursday, 3:00 to do the same.
Yeah, so let's wrap it up here. We have 500 people in the room. Thank you so much. Like the video, hit subscribe, baby. We appreciate that support. Again, everything that Wudi just said, that's correct. Ryan will be right back on Thursday at 3:00. I can't wait. I'm glad we secured him for a 2-show event coming up this week, which is great. And another reminder, folks, this is our big giveaway, and this is not lasting the entire month. I know most of our giveaways do. This giveaway does not last the entire month, so get it while the getting's good. The Jets draft hat, the Jets draft shirt, the movie Draft Day. If you want a chance to win all these prizes, all you have to do is buy a raffle ticket, which is for $2.99, $2.99. You can join the Boy Green Coffee Club in the YouTube description down below. You can gift Boy Green Coffee Club memberships. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the money sign, gift channel memberships, the final option, gift as many as you'd like. There's no limit. Or send in your super chats for Moolah, and I will keep account of it throughout the next week. You have a week to punch in those raffle tickets to have a chance to win this. And I say it to everybody. Obviously, the more raffle tickets you buy, the better your odds are. But I suggest everyone who watches the show at least try one raffle ticket. You never know what can happen. For $2.99, you could get outstanding value and a chance to win that amazing prize pack. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Wudi, another great one in the books. And I just can't friggin' wait for Thursday.
Me neither. Glorious week. We got glorious week.
And wait, we have one more shish kebab coming in here. It is a super chat. It is Bubba Badshaw here with a little piggy getting some warthog action, some Arkansas Razorback perhaps, a super chat.
Wow.
Wow is the proper response, because I don't think I've ever anyone seen use a super chat with an emoji before to highlight that specifically. So Bubba Badshaw is Razorback action happening here on the program. So God bless, shout out. And by the way, that is the perfect amount for Badshaw, because he had prior super chats he gifted here on the channel, which now gives him 4 raffle tickets so far this month. Thanks to Badshaw. What a proper way to end the show.
Hey, let's do it. Go out on a bang. We'll see you.
All right. Take care, everybody. Oh, wow. Another one coming through from Badshaw. Hey, now.
Wow.
Okay, Badshaw, you are now $2 away from another raffle ticket being added. So wonderful. Thank you so much. And we'll keep track of that moving forward. So shout out to Badshaw. And thanks, everybody, for supporting the show. We'll see you tomorrow morning for Boy Green Daily. Take care, everybody. Peace.